And we kind of left you hanging with that cliffhanger about some crazy stuff happening to the author.
Right, in Belgium.
In Belgium.
Yeah.
And we're going back to Belgium for this deep dive.
Yeah.
But this time, we're not dealing with crazy external events. We are going inside.
Oh, yeah, we're getting into the mind.
We're going inside.
A little bit.
Yeah. And what we're looking at specifically is what the author describes as her experience with sleep paralysis.
Yeah. And this is some pretty scary stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the mission for this deep dive is, like, what did she go through?
Right. And what can we maybe take away from it for ourselves?
For ourselves.
Yeah.
So just to lay the groundwork.
Okay.
The author describes sleep paralysis as this, like, in-between state.
Yeah.
Between sleeping and waking.
Right.
And apparently your brain releases this hormone.
It does.
When you're sleeping that temporarily paralyzes
Keeps you from acting out your dream.
Yeah, so you don't, like,
right.
punch your partner in your sleep.
Exactly, yeah. Which is pretty clever.
Pretty clever.
I mean, evolution, right?
It's like good thinking brain.
Yeah.
But the thing is, sometimes your mind wakes up before the paralysis wears off.
Right, and that's when it gets...
That's when it gets real.
Yeah.
And that's when you start hallucinating.
Yeah, you can have some really, really vivid hallucinations.
Yeah.
See things, feel things, hear things that aren't really there.
Yeah.
And to add to that, she's in Belgium. She doesn't have a job yet. Chris has just started a new job.
Right.
So she's kind of by herself in this new place.
Yeah. So that's important context to keep in mind. Okay, so let's go into her first episode that she describes.
All right.
So she's in bed.
Okay.
And she hears the bedroom door open.
Uh-huh.
And she thinks, oh, it's Chris.
Right. Which she admits didn't make a lot of sense because
his dad had taken him to work.
Drove him to work and he had no way to get back.
Right.
Right.
Unless he, like, hitchhiked or something.
Yeah.
Which would be weird.
Yeah. So, but in that half asleep state, she just assumes it's him.
Right.
But then she can't move.
Oh, boy.
Classic sleep paralysis.
Classic sleep paralysis.
Can't even open her eyes.
Yeah. And, like, trapped.
That is one of the hallmarks of this, and it is terrifying to think about.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So she can't move. She can't open her eyes.
Okay.
And then she starts hearing footsteps getting closer.
Oh, my God.
She feels the mattress sink, like, on either side of her waist.
Oh.
Like somebody's climbing into bed.
Okay.
And then hands on either side of her head.
Oh, my God.
And she's like, oh, this is Chris.
Right.
But then she starts to realize, even in this paralyzed state, Chris wouldn't do that.
Right.
Like,
if I just walked
if I was asleep
into the room and saw my partner asleep, I would not put my hands on either side of their head.
Yeah, it's like really creepy.
Yeah, and that's when she really starts to panic.
Yeah.
And she's thinking, somebody wake me up.
Yeah, like, somebody wake me up, please. And then it just stops.
Okay.
It just stops. She opens her eyes. The room is empty.
Sleepy and silent.
And silent.
Empty.
No Chris. No nothing.
And she's like, what?
What just happened?
Yeah, and that really is unsettling to think about.
Almost.
Because, like, you had this vivid experience, but nothing was there.
Yeah, and she's like, my heart is racing.
Right.
I'm trapped. I'm terrified.
Yeah.
And there's just no explanation.
Right.
And what does she decide to do?
Well, she decides to not tell anybody.
Yeah.
Because she's afraid that they'll think she's crazy.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is really, really telling.
I know.
About the stigma surrounding these kinds of experiences and mental health in general.
Yeah, for sure. So a few weeks later, Chris is sleeping.
Okay.
In the middle of the night, he starts calling her name.
Oh,
Fanny.
just Fanny.
Like, more and more urgently.
Oh.
And she wakes up and flips on the light, and she's like, what's going on?
What does it matter?
And he's like, oh, my God. I just had this hallucination of this, like, dark woman pushing down on my chest.
Oh, my God.
And I couldn't breathe.
Oh, no.
And so now they've both had this weird experience.
Right.
And so she's like, okay, I got to tell you something.
Right.
And she tells him about what happened to her a couple weeks before.
And what do they think?
And their immediate reaction is like, oh, we're possessed.
Right. We're possessed. We got to get out of here.
Let's get out of Belgium.
Yeah.
And, she even says, like, I was so afraid of being labeled insane.
Oh.
And she's like, oh, they're going to lock me up.
Right.
And study me, and I'm going to be like a guinea pig.
They're going to poke and prod me, and I'm going to be like...
Yeah, I'm going to be like a lab rat.
A lab rat.
Yeah.
So And you can see how just that not knowing
Yeah.
leads you to these kind of like supernatural
Yeah.
explanations for things.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So
And it's easier sometimes to think that it's something external to you,
yeah.
like a demon or something,
Yeah.
than to think that something's wrong with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So Chris is a little more rational.
Well, he turns to the internet
Yeah.
like a good millennial.
Yeah. He turns to the internet and he finds
Yeah,
the term sleep paralysis.
right.
But even then, they're like, why is this happening to both of us?
Right. Why are we both experiencing this
Yeah.
so close together?
Yeah. So weird.
Yay.
So, unfortunately for the author,
Yeah.
Chris's episode was a one-time thing.
Yeah. He just had the one.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
But for her, it kept happening for like over 2 years.
Oh my God.
And she thinks that like the more it happened,
Yeah.
the more she expected it to happen.
Right.
So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right. The anticipation of
Yeah.
it almost brings it on.
Yeah. And also like she was so afraid of it.
Right. Which just increases
Which made it worse.
the anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And over time, the hallucinations even got more intense.
Oh, wow.
The images got clearer. The sounds got louder.
Oh, no.
And the fear just got so bad.
Oh, gosh.
She usually had an episode when she was trying to fall asleep,
Mhm.
and then until in the morning,
Okay.
after Chris left for work,
Yeah.
like he'd go off to his job,
Yeah.
and then she'd have another one.
When she was alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then later, when she got a job and started waking up at the same time as him,
Yeah.
it went down to like once a day.
Okay. So less frequent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but still awful.
Still awful.
Yeah. And it wasn't just sleep paralysis.
Oh, no.
She also started having nightmares
Oh, gee.
all the time.
So her sleep was just fraught with terror.
It was just constant terror.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she developed this way of screaming herself awake,
Oh, wow.
which she describes as like humming, that would start really quiet and then get louder and louder
Until she?
and louder and louder until she woke herself up.
Yeah.
And she had to sleep with the lights on and the TV on,
Oh, wow.
like just to feel safe enough.
She's afraid of the dark.
Oh my gosh.
And she just decided to like live with it,
Oh, wow.
even though it was terrifying.
She just accepted it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like she knew about the scientific explanation,
Right, yeah.
but she still felt like, oh, maybe I'm cursed.
Right. And those two things were just fighting each other
Yeah.
in her mind.
Yeah. And she says that she cared way too much what other people thought of her.
Yeah.
And that's why she didn't get help.
Right. She was afraid of being labeled as
Yeah.
possessed or crazy or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can really see how that fear
Yeah.
can prevent people from
Yeah.
seeking help.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to recap this really scary deep dive.
Yeah. We've gone from her first episode
Mm-hmm.
to this shared experience with Chris.
Right.
To it just like getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, and the nightmares and
The nightmares and the fear of the dark.
Yeah.
And she's just dealing with it.
Right. And the conflict between
Yeah.
the rational scientific explanation and this feeling that something's wrong with her.
Yeah.
And she's afraid to tell anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that brings us to a question for you.
Yeah.
How often do your fears and anxieties
Yeah.
override logic?
Right. Like, you know something to be true,
Yeah.
but you still feel
You still fear.
this other way.
Yeah. And the other thing is like, what happens when we prioritize
Right.
what other people think
Yeah.
over getting help?
Right. It's scary to put yourself out there
Yeah.
and say, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
But what if by doing that, you could actually feel better?
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
It's something to think about.
Yeah. And as for our next deep dive into Hitchhike,
Yeah.
well, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, boy.
There's a lot more to this story.
Oh, no.
So stay tuned.
Yeah. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.